Top Income Side Hustles Report. Now, I do have a bit of a challenge with the word side hustles, but really what it means is a part-time work or a part-time business or some way of generating income that you can do in your spare time. So let's just make sure that that's the way we look at it. Okay, I'm going to break this down into just a few different subcategories, and essentially let's get straight into it. Okay, the first category is one that I'm very familiar with, and that is running social or business events. So say for example one that I do find quite useful that I've been running for quite a few years, and that is social and business networking parties. Now you can run a different variation of these in the process of doing so. Essentially what I do is I have people meet at a very nice eclectic hotel location, usually a 5-star hotel type of scenario, and it can be as a happy hour, but that's not obligatory. And my guests, which is usually from my social group, will pay a fee to come along, and the hotel will provide the food, the drinks and so forth like that, which they pay cash for. In a lot of my cases, I've got the catering set up built into the fee. So essentially, yes, you can make a profit out of doing that, but more importantly, you can make a profit out of doing it regularly. And if you have another existing business, having social events can be a way how to make your lead generation work at the same time. So you've got to look at it from more than one perspective of the cash in the hand now, so to speak, to that of how can this build my additional income activities. And that's where having a public event, an above the line event, face-to-face event, is highly important to do so. So moving on to the next one, and that is doing wine tasting tours. Now I have done this for quite some time, and believe it or not, I don't even drive a car, I don't even drive a bus, and I'm not really a wine drinker. So how would I do an event like this? Well, I have someone in my club who is basically a licensed driver, and he can drive the particular minibuses to the destinations that we go to. So for example, Hunter Valley or the Southern Highlands or the Shoalhaven, those particular areas. And he knows these areas very well from his business. So it's a very good sort of partnership to partner up with someone who really knows what they're actually doing. And in the process, selling this to my social group, this gives me an additional income from my social group, in that I've got regular people that actually want to book for those events on an ongoing basis. Now, another one that's also well worthwhile having a look at, and that is being a tour guide. Now, maybe not a tour guide in the real traditional sense, but this is something that I've done quite a long time, and that is taking people on social history walks or art gallery walks through different suburbs around Sydney or Melbourne. And you can do this in your own capital city as well, or regional town, based upon the local area that you're in. Essentially, people love going out and mixing with other people. And rather than maybe say going to a dinner event where everyone's staring at everyone else across the other side of the table, you've actually got people moving about all the time and talking all the time, because they're learning different things and stopping and hearing something, hearing the guide give a talk about a particular area. And usually the walk will finish at a cafe. And I'll provide some more details about how this sort of thing works at a later stage on another video. Okay, moving on from there, there is another popular area that's moving quite well at the moment, and that is teaching what you know. And teaching what you know can come in several forms. So I'll outline the essential 2 forms that this can happen. And these are ones that I've tried out myself as well. So essentially what you've got is the ability to teach at your local evening college. Now, local evening colleges could be, say, a TAFE evening college. It could be a local college that's attached to a university, or some other different organisation like that. And you'll usually find these in suburban areas, and they teach what's known as hobby courses. But the hobby courses are created by people like you. and me. So we set the agenda as opposed to a regular certificate course or some sort of accredited learning. When people are coming along to listen to or learn from a local expert about a particular topic, they're learning from that person's life experience that's been put into a type of a story form that might happen over several nights, over a few weeks, and thereby they're imparting that knowledge. Now, everyone's got something in their heart, their mind, that they can teach to other people. This is a good way how to learn, A, to interact with other people, and B, to learn whether your topic really has some chance to fly. And it's a great self-esteem boost just by merely teaching. If you can get a course up, you're doing really, really well. And it can be quite profitable. You can either partner with the college or the university directly to do maybe say a 60-40 split, something like that, on the fees that come in, so that they're not taking a risk and neither are you. Or you can also take what's known as an hourly rate fee, where you're paying the regular tax on it, and so on and so on. So there are two different ways there to do it. So that's something to consider there, because it's something that a lot of people don't really realise they can jump into straight away. Another one that's also worthwhile is, and it's on a similar level, but maybe on an international level, and that is to teach a course, a video course, say on Udemy or maybe Thinkific Teachable or something like that, where you've got a public platform, and you may need a website for doing something like this, but I'm sure that if you're resourceful, you'll figure out how to get that sort of thing up and going. But it's a way how to take your course to a much wider audience on an international level. So it's worthwhile considering looking at something like that. Like I said before, everyone's got a skill, everyone's got some knowledge, everyone's got something that other people would be or might be interested in learning. So it's worthwhile taking that knowledge to the general public. Now, some other side hustles that are also well worthwhile looking at that may require a little bit of extra complication, I know that this is the case, and that is to look at something like flipping websites or buying websites that already have an existing income to them on a website called Flippa.com. Now, Flippa.com is quite widely known. It's been around for over a decade and so forth. I remember it from being in its very early days. You can buy everything from apps to domains and so forth. But to cut the story short, essentially what it means is what a lot of people tend to do who are experts in this area, and you may have that kind of buy, build and sell type of experience. This is something you can do once again in your part-time without actually having to deal with a bricks and mortar business. And all types of businesses are actually listed on there. So if you've got skills for building a business, hey, this could be something for you to look at from the monthly income perspective, or secondly, from the buy, build and sell perspective. It's well worthwhile having a look at. Yes, in the past I have bought, built and sold websites. I've created websites from scratch and sold them at a later stage. And in the process, of course, I've learned quite a lot. But it's well worthwhile having a look in this particular area, because it could be something you might have a skill at, and you might not be aware that you could go about that. Now, in addition to this, there could be some other different things that are well worthwhile having a look at. And that is, yes, the obvious one that we're on at the moment, that is YouTube. YouTube is a way how you could probably build your business at a later stage. Once you've got a business going, where are you going to get some of those leads, particularly if it's an online business? And that is, I do recommend YouTube as a great potential for lead generation, also for communicating with your audience, because you can upload quite a lot of videos there, and whether they're visible to the general public or just made visible on your website, there's lots of different ways how you can make YouTube work for your business. So it's something to consider, and it's well worthwhile learning the skills of editing, audio, thumbnail creation, etc. Another area that's quite popular at the moment is Canva. Canva is also very, very popular at the moment. And you might say, well, how do you make money out of Canva? Well, a lot of business people these days are buying pre-made templates, and the experts in this area are making pre-made templates which can be customizable directly for your business. And selling those templates has become a real thing on the internet. So that's another area well worthwhile having a look at. And there's a lot of things you can actually do with Canva. A lot. And there are experts out there that are teaching just purely this area of knowledge. So it's worth looking at far more close up. Another thing that could be worthwhile for you to look at as well, and that is all things Amazon at the moment. Amazon has still been persisting after all this time. At one stage, eBay was the big go, and to some degree, yes, that still is the go. It's a far more evolved type of market. And I would say at some level there that selling products and services, etc., via Amazon is also another highly evolved market. And because it's highly evolved, yes, there's a fair bit of competition there, but also there is a much higher income potential because the main base website behind it, sites like eBay and sites like Amazon, have put in a lot of groundwork for small businesses to actually make money out of what they're actually doing. So have a look at those areas, and that can be something there well worthwhile having a look at for the year 2022. I will update this report later in the year, and I wish you a great year ahead trying that out. Now, before you leave, make sure you like, and if you want to, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be putting out tips and ideas for business like this every single week, so it can be well worthwhile to join in with me